Welcome to lesson 3.3, domain and range. So basically, domain is a way of describing how far to the left and to the right the graph can go. And range is a way of describing how low and how high the graph can go. So it's basically taking a big look at how big is your graph, how far does it go in every direction, so that you know what the restrictions of your graph are. Hey, we are going to use interval notation to write it. Remember that interval notation always goes from least to greatest. Before we just did left to right, which was doing the same thing, but now we're also going to need to do bottom to top because we are not just going left to right anymore. Now we're going up and down too. So remember to use brackets when a value is a whole number, because there's going to be no open circles. And use parentheses when a value is infinity or negative infinity. Because you can equal a whole number, you cannot equal infinity. And if you look at the top and the bottom of a bracket, this part right here, it looks like an equal sign. These are get used when you can equal a number, you just can't equal infinity, okay? So if a graph goes on forever, it will have an arrow. That arrow means that it goes to either negative infinity or infinity. If it is going to the left or down, it's negative infinity. If it is going to the right or up, it is positive infinity. Okay? Go ahead and pause if you need a second to write those down. So domain is all of the x values. And this means that we're going to go from left to right because that's what direction x values go in. So ask yourself, how far to the left can the graph go? How far to the right can the graph go? And I'm going to go ahead and do this with some of the graphs down here. Okay, I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so you can see everything at the same time. So for this first graph, the furthest to the left on my graph is right here. Okay, it doesn't go right here. There's no lines right here. It stops right here at the x value of 1. Okay, and then I'm going to go to an infinity next. So I'm going to go ahead and write this for you guys. Negative infinity is on the left, positive infinity is on the right. The same way as if this was just a number line. The graph starts at this negative or this 1 and it only goes this way. Right? Because it gets to an arrow and that arrow means that it really just keeps going to the right. It never stops. So it's going to positive infinity. The 1, because it's a whole number, gets a bracket. The infinity gets a parentheses because we can't equal infinity. Okay, and then I'm going to do the domain on the next one too. So this one has an arrow right here on the left. That means it goes left forever. This is negative infinity. This is positive infinity. Since we are on the left right now, that's negative infinity because I'm only looking at these numbers. I don't care about these numbers. And then over to the right, it has another arrow, so that means that it keeps going to the right forever. Okay? Both infinities, so we put parentheses around it. And then this last one is pretty much the same thing. It goes left forever, and it goes right forever. So that's negative infinity to infinity again. It doesn't matter that it has this spot right here because it's still going left and right forever. Now let's talk about the range. The range is the same idea, but instead of using this as the number line, you're going to use this as the number line. So you're going to list the lowest or the bottom, and then the highest or the top. Okay, it always has to go from least to greatest, so lowest to highest. So the lowest point on this graph is here. But that's an arrow, remember, and it keeps going down. So this line can keep going down off of this page. Okay? Down is negative infinity. Up is infinity. So what we're saying basically is that this line is headed this direction to the negative infinity. And then going up, it goes up, it goes up, goes up, goes up, and I get my other arrow which goes up to positive infinity. So it never stops going down and it never stops going up. But just make sure you notice this is headed towards this positive infinity, but right now all I care about is these numbers. So this is going down to infinity and up to infinity. The infinity that it goes down to is negative. And then the same thing happens over here. This one's going down forever, and this one's going up forever. So its lowest point is negative infinity, and its highest point is infinity, because it takes up this whole graph. The only time when it stops is if it has to turn around and doesn't turn back. So technically it turns around here, but then it turns right back around. So it still goes up forever. These two numbers don't mean anything if it goes higher and lower at different points, because you have to look at the graph as a whole picture. These are infinities, so I'm going to put parentheses around them. And then the range on the last one, the lowest point is these two arrows that go negative infinity forever, comma. Wait, it doesn't go up forever because both of these are pointing down, so it has to stop right here. And this line right here is up 1, 2. So it stops at 2. Hey, you guys are going to see a lot of infinities for domain and range because a lot of lines and graphs have arrows at the end. And then the very last thing we're going to do is ask ourselves, is it a function? So that's where you do the vertical line test. I'm going to drag my pen across, and if it crosses twice, it's not a function. Whoop, there it is. So it crosses here and here. That's a repeat, so it's a relation, not a function. And then same thing here, going all the way across. It only crosses once, once, once. So this one is okay. It is a function. And then over here, it's okay, it only crosses once the whole way across. So this one is a function too. When it's not a function, that means it's sort of overlapped itself like this. Okay?